Shel from Paper Rock TO Studio. Today I have the Index Cards a Day Challenge for days 45, 46, and 47. For day 45, I decided I wanted to do a cute little illustration. Sometimes I'm feeling the cuteness. Okay, lots of times I'm feeling whimsical. Sometimes I'm feeling cute. So I decided to make a little sketch with my mechanical pencil filled with soft lead. That's a 2B lead graphite. And it's a mouse. I hope you can tell once you see the illustration that it's a mouse. It's a mouse with a strawberry. It's a cute little mouse with a strawberry with a bow in her hair. And it's sweet. So I'm just, making the drawing onto the index card. These are 3x5 index cards that I've been using. I don't know if I've ever said that before. They do come in 4x6, and I didn't realize that. I might have liked the little bit bigger ones. But anyway, once the drawing was to my satisfaction, then I inked it using the India ink. These are Faber-Castell Pit pens, and these are the ones that I use for illustration. And they're permanent when they're dry, so if I get them wet, it's not going to smear. They are the ones that I found I like the best. Once my illustration was inked, then I decided to color them in with Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayon because that's something that I enjoy. I am going to activate the crayon with a water barrel brush. This is an Aquash by Pentel, and it has water in the barrel. And then I use a fluid. This time I was using liquid matte medium, the liquid type of matte medium, which is basically acrylic paint without any pigment in it. I was using that to blend the background. So you see me every once in a while dipping my brush into that. The brush bristles are synthetic and they stay wet, and then they don't get, they don't really have a problem with mixing with the polymers. But I decided to switch to white acrylic paint, which is what I prefer usually. It's smoother, and I just, it's just basic acrylic paint, probably Liquitex Basics white, titanium white. Put a little bit of that, and I drip a little bit of water into it from the brush and then blend it. And that's what I prefer to blend my Neocolor 2 things with. I do it with other stuff too, but mostly this. So I just have different colors. I started out with some turquoises and then moved on to some greens, and now I'm doing some grays. I have collected these crayons over time. This is really my favorite product of all. Well, Posca pens. Posca pens, and these, I just love them. I think they're great. I bought a set of, I believe, 30 or 24 in a tin. Then I had some other ones that were the ones that I used, that I bought individually from dickblick.com in different skin tones because I was doing faces last year when I was taking Lifebook. That's when I first did any faces, because really wasn't my thing until then. I still don't do it that much, but I ordered them then. Then just recently I went to Phoenix. The only Dick Blick store in Arizona is in the Phoenix area, and we were going to a concert, my kid and I, so we stopped by the the art mecca. It really is like, oh, look at all this stuff. Look at all this golden paint. Oh my gosh. And my kid's just looking at me like, you are a lunatic. But anyway, I picked up some more of the single colors. So I think that I have probably most of them. I'm not sure. I don't really know how many they make. But I ended up like opening up the little tin so that it's open on both sides and putting all the crayons in. And then I made myself a little box out of a chipboard from the back of a watercolor pad or something, and that goes around it to keep it from flopping and wobbling, and that's how I'm storing them. Then I just put them on the shelf. I tried to make a little lid for it, but it didn't fit. I didn't do it right, so I've been just saving them like that. And I've got the three metallics. There's a gold, a silver, and a copper, just kind of laying the other direction there, and then all the regular colors are laying, you know, side by side like that. So that's working so far. Someday I might have a better solution. I'm not sure, but one of them did fall on the floor, so there's one missing. I have to find it. I have to crawl around on on the paper scrap covered floor to find it. So once all my coloring was done, I used watering can color gray to go around the edge, and that's a Ranger Archival ink. Then of course I got my Posca pen. I buy these from Amazon, and I buy them in a pack of 3 because that's how much I use Posca pens. So they have a finer tip. They're not the extra fine tip, but they're the fine tip. Then I have a set of 15 colors that have a bullet tip, which is called the medium. So I have 2 different sizes, and I see now that there are extra fines on Amazon that I might have to have if I ever make some money. So yeah, I would like those. Maybe I'll get them as a gift. I get a lot of my art supplies as a gift from my best friend and my mother. So anyway, did the black. I wasn't planning on doing the entire black outline over again, but I did because I just can't help myself. And then now I've got my white Posca pen, adding some quick highlights, her little whiskers and little hairs on her ears, stuff like that. The little seeds on the strawberry. Just think that makes a huge difference when you add in the white on the top. Then the last thing I'm going to do is write the word sweet at the top, and then I'm done with this one for day 45. So for day 46, I'm using a piece of paper scrap that I got in Happy Mail from Kimberly in Florida. So thank you, Kimberly, if you're watching. She sent me a whole bunch of cute scraps of different painted papers and things like that. I sent her some Happy Mail. I sent her an index card that she wanted, and she responded by sending some nice papers. This one has gold flowers on it, which I think were through a stencil maybe. I'm not sure. I think it was probably gold paint through a stencil, but it's really pretty. I decided that I wanted to do a flower. So what I'm doing is just on one side of the card using my black fine tip Posca to just draw around the petals of the flower so that it shows up. Then I have my Bombay inks. These are from Dr. P.H. Martin's, also from Amazon. I guess I'll go ahead and put the lists of everything that I used on the cards in the description below with the links for you. I'll just go ahead and do that. So if there's something that you see that you like, I'll just have the description of it below in that thing that says see more, and you can just click and go see what it is. If I can find it somewhere on the internet, I'll link it. That just takes a lot of time, but I think that people are appreciative of it, and I've been asked to do it many, many, many times. I'm just kind of lazy, it takes a lot of time. So I'll do it for you guys. So I have 2 different sets of these inks now. I have the set 1 and the set 2, which might be a little bit confusing. I did just have the set 2 that I got for Christmas, and then on Best Friends Day, my best friend bought me set 1. So I now have all the ones that are available from Dr. P.H. Martin's, which at least I think that's all of them. So I'm pretty happy because what I really like about these is that once they're dry, they're like watercolors. They're like liquid watercolors, but once they're dry, they don't run anymore because they're empty ink. So they are perfect for mixed media because of that reason. You can paint in something, you can make it like a watercolor. They're somewhat translucent, and you can blend them. You can mix your own colors. But then once that thing is dry and you go to put something else over the top of it, which we always do in mixed media, I mean constantly putting layer after layer, then that color stays. And so I'm really happy with these, and they're becoming a favorite over my other watercolor type products, except for the Neocolors, which I just blend those with acrylic paint, and then I have the same type of some semi-permanency with those. So I'm just using the two different sets, light green, dark green. I used magenta and then some orange to do the flower to try to make it more dimensional by having it in multiple colors. And I'm guessing this is a rose or maybe a peony. I'm not sure. Sometimes they look the same in drawings. So I'm having fun doing that, and these are going over the gold paint that's on there very well and covering it up. I did have to draw in leaves because I just can't stand flowers without leaves, and they didn't seem to have leaves around this particular one. So I just kind of drew them. I didn't use the lines, I just drew them over it. Then I'm adding a couple of the brighter pink and brighter orange over the top just to add a little bit more depth. Excuse me. It's early in the morning and my voice hasn't woken up yet. So once I have it painted to my satisfaction, I use a sponge dauber to go around the edges with my black archival ink just to add a little bit of a border, close everything in there. Then I decide that the flower needs gold because the background is gold. I want to bring gold all the way through. So this is some PBO Dyna gold acrylic, and I put some of that on with a brush just here and there to make kind of like little highlights, kind of like I would do with the white Posca, because you always see me doing that, but instead it's gold. And I don't have a gold Posca. I don't know if they have metallics. Wow, I need to look into that. Maybe they have metallic Poscas. Another project. Then I have my small talk stickers from Ranger Tim Holtz. Gonna put those on. I decide that they are not sticking well enough for my satisfaction, so I glue them down with some Aleene's tacky glue. And then I'm gonna go around the edges with a black pin. I have my black Posca there, but I changed my mind and get out a more smaller nib, which is from my Fabric-Castell Pit pins. So for those of you who've been watching for a while, you're seeing that I'm narrowing in on some products that I really like, and I'm using those over and over as opposed to more variety. I'm trying to still use variety, but I really like certain things, and that's good for me. It's good for me to have experimented enough to know which things I really like. So that is card 46. For card 47, I decided to collage. I know you're all shocked. I'm collaging again. So this is a pencil drawing to start out with my graphite pencil that I like. I've narrowed in on the pencil that I like and the lead that I like. Graphite. Just making a basic sketch here real quickly. Then I'm going to get out my color boxes. There's my color boxes. Oh my gosh. Put them on the floor next to me. Then I'm going to use some deli paper and draw shapes around my sketch and then cut out paper to match. This is one way of doing it. Instead of tearing, which I often do with collage, I'm going to cut with my little scissors. Those are Cutter Bee scissors. I actually got them at Tuesday Morning. They were cheaper than the regular ones. But it's almost time to get some new ones because they're getting a little bit dull and they have a lot of glue on them. I don't know why they have so much glue on them. So I'm attaching my collage using Golden Soft Gel, matte, medium. Comes in glossy as well, but I prefer matte. Not that into glossy things myself. And of course have my plastic spatula, palette knife type thing that I like to use for this. And an extra piece of deli paper so that I don't get matte medium all over my craft mat. That is a craft mat and I could clean it up, but why clean it up if I don't have to? So I'm just continuing to do this, going down the card. There's the roof of the house in a red, kind of brick color. The sky is made out of the inside of security envelopes. If you ever look inside those, like all the ones that come with your bills and stuff that you just toss in the trash, they're usually blue, pretty much always blue, but they have all different types of patterns of like plaids and mostly plaids, but sometimes checkers. I guess just depending on the brand or maybe even the different styles. I'm not sure, but amazing amount of patterns. Like you could do an entire monochromatic collage using just the insides of security envelopes. So take a look at those. Other papers that I'm using are waste deli paper. Like I sometimes, if I'm jelly printing, I roll off, or if I have extra paint on my palette that I don't want to waste, I will just scrape it with a card. Like this one, that's what that is. It's scraped with a card, with like a credit card type situation, onto deli paper and allowed to dry. And then I just save all that into my little color boxes. I know someone who hasn't watched before is going to ask about the boxes, so I will tell you. There's these mini cinnamon rolls at the Fry's grocery store that my mom really enjoys. She buys those pretty much every time she shops. And so when she finishes with the tiny little mini cinnamon rolls, she gives me the boxes because she knows that I like them. They have a pretty tight lid and they're made out of fairly heavy plastic. I haven't ripped one or anything, so I think they're pretty good for this, and it's a good way to recycle them. So that's what I sort my colors into. Sort all my little scraps into color families. Sometimes dark and light, or sometimes like I have a turquoisey blue, I have a dark blue, and I have a lighter blue, and it's just depending on how many scraps you have as to how many boxes you need. I mean, you could just have a yellow and orange together and red and pink together, you know. It's just I have a lot of scraps. Some of them are jellied prints. Some of them are papers that I've received in different Happy Mail things or swap things. Some of them are packaging, I had all these packages of the Tattered Angels little kits. They have like 4 1-ounce bottles, and I bought several kits in order to get a variety of colors. And the packet when I took them out and labeled the tops and then put them in another box, the packaging had these pretty colors all across the back of it. So I just took like that one right there, that green one that I just took out. That's from one of those packages. Pay attention to packaging. It sometimes has really interesting patterns or colors on it, and you can use that in your scraps. So I'm just continuing to do drawing the shape onto deli paper and then using that, holding it together. This is not precise. I'm not, clipping it together to the paper to make sure that I'm very careful. I'm not, I'm doing it quickly. That one's just the edge of a jelly print that happens to be on newsprint. So that's newsprint colored paper. That's all it is for the house. I'm making some trees now. This deli paper I made when I was doing a koala paper painting for a client. That was a canvas that was completely covered with collage, and I made that for the tree that the koala was sitting in. And it's interesting patterns on it. It's several layers of paint on it. So I'm using that for the little trunk of the tree, and then I use the packaging for the leafy part of the tree. I'm really having trouble with my voice. Sorry, guys. So that one's scrapbook paper. I believe it's from Stampin' Up, from a pattern paper set that looks. It had several different papers that looked like things like weathered wood, and that one looks like rusty metal, kind of oxidized metal. It's what's left of a piece of it. So you guys get the idea that I like doing this. I think it's a lot of fun, and I do it in several different ways. So if you are liking this video and enjoying watching me do videos like this, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I would like to know that you were here and that you enjoyed it. You may not think that you have anything to say, but those comments really help me to continue doing stuff like this because it does take a lot of time. And, you know, I don't mind creating the art. It's really just the editing that I don't enjoy. I really don't enjoy it. So when I see that someone has enjoyed this or it inspired them to make art or to try something new, I'm always very, very happy and grateful to see those comments. So leave me a comment. It's awesome. And then, of course, subscribe if you haven't, because then you won't miss anything, and it's free. There's no charge for all these tutorials that I'm doing. And the other thing that you can do to help me out is to share. If you pin it, if you post it on Facebook, if you do something like that, that tells YouTube that I made something valuable that somebody really wants to save, and they will recommend it to someone else. So the next thing that I did was to do the bottom half of the edging with green and the top half with blue ink pads. Those are the archival inks from Ranger. And now I have my Pit Artist brush pens. Instead of going around everything with black like an illustration, I'm just adding shadows with colors similar to what the color is of the paper. Does that make sense? I'm still making edges to everything, but I'm using the color that it is already. Maybe a slightly different, darker color, but a similar color. These pens are made by Faber-Castell, and they are also India ink, so they dry permanently, which is what I like about them. Also, if your surface is not porous, like if you've put, in this case, matte medium all over it, they blend a little bit before they're dry. You can blend them with your fingers. So useful pens, and this is the set that has a lot of colors. I probably won't ever need to replace these except for maybe the gray brown one that I use a lot. Might have to replace that one at some point. So when I've completed this shading, I'll use my white Posca pen to do my scribbly highlights that I like to do. I just think that adds a lot, so I do it, and then it will be done. So thanks for watching, and that's it for me. Bye-bye.